Hello and welcome back, my fellow gamers. Today we're going to be ahead and continuing on and going over the update that came out for build 42. It's the build 42.12, and just going to be going over some of the new stuff that's been added, some of the fixes. I'm not going to really go into all of the fixes themselves, just more or less the balance things and the new stuff that's been added. If you want to see the fixes, you can see the link to the update in the description, but I'm just going to mainly go over the main things that I think are more relevant to people who are actually playing the game. So the one big thing is they do have an unstable warning due to the changes in the generator fuel consumption and corresponding defaults. Existing saves will likely experience increased fuel consumption. Basically, the general fuel consumption sandbox setting can be changed in the debug mode. So what that means is you can go ahead and fix that. If you're having problems with your generator running out of fuel faster than you want it to, you can go ahead and go into the debug mode and fix that. There is an issue, however, that they've discovered that when refueling from gas pumps, that you might get stuck standing there and not be able to disengage from the gas pump. You can be canceled using the escape button or by sprinting. Otherwise, your character may not move. So that's kind of a big one. It could end up getting you killed by zombies if you go up to a gas pump trying to fuel up, and a zombie comes up behind you and you forget that you might be locked in. So that's a good one to pay attention to. The other one is the huge update that I feel like is the biggest one, is with the shotgun. They did do a fix for the shotgun itself, basically for reordering the hit location damage calculation to occur after physical ballistics. Body part is selected. Basically, that means when you hit in the arms, legs, body, that the rounds are actually hitting them. So ranged weapon damage can now use the use of specific body part damage modifiers. This brings rage damage into line with how melee combat works. Headshots will receive 3 times damage. Legs and arms get dealt for less. This fixes the shotgun targeting bug where zombies were dodging the pellets. So basically not getting hit when all the rounds were shot out of the shotgun, which was kind of like a big deal because it definitely changed the way the shotgun was working. You would basically hit one zombie instead of 2 or 3 at a time when you'd be aiming and when you're within your cone of impact. The other changes is your cone here. Your slider for your performance, for your views. The opacity slider has been added to performance settings. They did update the vision cone to use square lighting outside when it's brighter than the current daylight value, so players can benefit from street lights and other lights sources at dusk, dawn, and night. They did update the lighting system so that rooms behind shut doors are blacked out. They added more tiles to breakable metal fences. Am I tired? Yeah, I'm tired. They also added, while resting, the endurance moodle now acts as a progress indicator when you're resting, so that when you get that bug up top here for the moodle that you get when you're exhausted, it'll now kind of give you an update. They updated pathfinding, which allows players to climb over walls during walk to when you click to walk through. So when you did walk to before, it wouldn't climb over existing walls if they were there. But now, apparently, if there's a wall there, it'll climb over top of the wall. So we'll go ahead and give you kind of an example of the shotgun here real quick. See, we're getting multiple hits along the spray. Yeah, that wasn't happening before, so that's a great change. They allow players now you can store corpses in vehicle trunks or seats. So that means that when you can pick them up, you can put them in the back of your vehicle. So we'll grab a corpse here, and we're going to go ahead and throw one in the back of the trunk of one of these vehicles real quick. Yeah, hold on, I can't do that right yet. Apparently I called all the zombies to the yard. We're gonna have to kill some zombies here for a minute. And we'll come back and continue on here after we're done killing all these guys. Alright, so essentially now what you can do that you couldn't do before is you'll be able to stick zombies in the back of trunks and cars according to the update. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. We're going to stick them in the back of this trunk here, this car. I'll drop the corpse into the trunk. And the corpse goes in the trunk. Alright, so there's the corpse inside the trunk. So, okay, so one of the other things that's been added to the update, it adds required items and sorted to be sorted by name into the crafting UIs. Rename item, renamed sort by name to sort alphabetical. What that basically means is like when you're sorting your things in your inventory, you can sort it now by alphabetical instead. So when you're looking for actual information or actual things in your inventory, you can now do that to sort. So the other thing is cigarettes can now be smoked directly from the pack without removing beforehand. So that was a big thing, is you had to take the cigarettes out of the pack before in order to smoke one if you were a smoker. You don't have to do that anymore. Fluid containers such as like sodas and things like that can be opened to consumed. If the player is able to open the fluid container, you'll have the option to drink available, and when the craft recipe to open it will be performed, drinking beverage is now open and drink as opposed to drink. So you can now have the option to open and drink directly instead of having to open it separately and then drink. So what that means is you'll be able to drink. So double clicking on a beverage fluid items will get the player to drink the beverage, opening it beforehand if required. So it means like drinking water bottles, you'll be able to just double click on it and it'll automatically drink it. Double clicking on canned food that needs to be open to be consumed will allow you to actually open the food. And you can open and eat available, and when select craft recipe to open, it will be performed before the eating action. Similar to how double clicking on food items gets the character to eat the food item, double clicking on pills and consumable drainables such as chewing tobacco trigger the character to consume this item. This does not apply to rat poison, as it would kill the player on account of an accidental double click. So that means if you actually have rat poison on you, you won't double click on rat poison, it won't kill you. VHS tapes and CDs that have been watched or heard will have their status displayed in the tooltip and displayed icon. That means that you'll get that already viewed or already heard. They added lower tier cooking skill books to the pool of kitchen surface clutter items. So it means when you're inside homes and you're looking for things inside homes, you might be more apt to find actual kitchen recipe books. Let's see. You can now rename containers in tile objects, which is kind of a cool thing to add. They added possible ingredients feature to build menu, so when you're clicking on top of things, it'll let you know if it's an actual, if it's an ingredient to be able to build stuff. It'll highlight and indicate that what you can build from it. So that's adding to the UI, which is kind of cool. It's now possible to take hay from bundle tiles, which you couldn't do that before. So now you'll be able to take the hay from those big bundles you see out in the farms. They added a recipe for making a mirror for those of you that need to have a mirror in your base. I want to craft one. I would assume that's probably going to be done in the glassworks, if I was to guess. Cookable food items now display in tooltips how long it takes to cook them if the character has at least 5 levels in cooking. So that's kind of cool. When a player is looking at a vehicle trunk inventory window from outside of the vehicle, there will be a top button option to close the trunk. Additionally, if the player has the key for the vehicle, then there will also be a top button option to close and lock the trunk. So that means if you're outside the vehicle and you have the key, it'll give you the option to do this. So if you're outside and you have the key on you, you can close the trunk. If you have the key on you, you get the option to close and lock. I don't have the key on me. I think I left it inside the car. It's running. Let's see what else we got. The baking pan now can hold fluids, which it couldn't before. There's new animes for getting the corpse out of a container. So when you go to take a corpse out of something, there's a new animes for that. Let's see. They added NASCAR cars now spawn in the world primarily at the Irvington racetrack. But here's a NASCAR here inside the parking lot here of the Crossroads Mall. Actually, this is one of two. I know there's one in the back of the mall also. So they do spawn in the regular world. So it's kind of interesting and cool. There's new sound effects for wooden shelf, metal shelf, plant and leather drying racks, craft benches, modern oven, open and close, wooden drawers, magazine shelf, display cases, also for lighting campfire with notch plank, cap gun, rifle, revolver, fire pits, small plant, drying racks, handbrake, metal lockers, and metal chests. They reworked the sound effects for item transfer. So basically what that means is they did a lot in changing the sounds, which I believe is what was happening in my particular game here with the mods that I had loaded in for the guns that I was using kept crashing the game, and I think it's because it was conflicting with the new sound effects that they've changed within the game for guns and things. So that's unfortunate, but that's probably what was happening. There's new megaphone sounds for the hey and whisper and pists, the psst, basically the whisper for male and female. They added the filling sound to several fluid container items. They increased the range of animal thumping sounds from 30 to 40 squares and the range of animal vocal sounds from 20 to 40 squares. That's what it means. If those of you that are doing the farming, you got to be careful as far as if those sounds will attract zombies, because it looks like they've increased that distance. So there's more likely that zombies will be attracted to your farmlands if they are in the area. Pain sounds are now played when the player gets injured when tripping or moving through trees. That's kind of a good one, because sometimes I've done that where I've been going through the trees and I don't realize I get injured. Next thing you know, you're bleeding out. So that'll be kind of cool that it'll give you a kind of a little bit of a heads up. So that's it for the new stuff that's been added. Now moving on to balance. So balance is kind of a big one. The zombies killed by vehicle damage now increase the driver's zombie kill count. So that didn't count before. If you killed zombies with your car, it didn't add them up. They rebalanced the metabolics multipliers for calories consumption and moved some recipes and timed actions from default to better categories. This should lead to overall consumption for most common activities, recipes, and resting, with a bit more few intense activities and recipes. This should have an impact on survivor weight in long playthroughs. So basically that means is the amount of calories you didn't take will be changed and be added correctly. They added functionality to allow drying racks to dry variable numbers of input items, updating drying recipes and drying racks to allow variable inputs for multiple items per rack. They added large hooks to the pools of surface clutter items for barns and garages. They already spawned as surface clutter in farm storage. They fixed the movie rental room spawn. I'm assuming that means that there was a movie rental. There was something wrong with the room spawn there. Probably the zombies spawning in the room. They updated fish hunger math when caught by a fishing net to match other cases. Non-weapon items that have a sharpness quality, such as detached knife blades, will display their current sharpness value in their items tooltips, such as weapons of sharpness do. They increase the hunger of dried corn and missing additional values for dried peas and soybeans. So one of the other things that they've added is grass tufts can now be dried. They changed the blacksmithing skill requirement for forging large hooks from 2 to 1. So it's easier for people to make butcher hooks. So that's kind of a good deal when you're trying to make those in order to get your butchering going. When a character hits level 10, they learn all growing season recipes not already known. So that's a huge change. So that means you don't have to go out and read all the recipes on the back of all the seed packets anymore if you reach level 10. Let's see. When a character reaches mechanics level 8, 9, or 10, they learn basic, intermediate, or advanced mechanics recipes, if not already known. So that's also a good one. Let's see. There's more tiles made to work as crafting surfaces, so that means that you'll be able to craft stuff on more different locations. They added the generator recipe as an auto-learn recipe at electrical level 3, so that means you'll be able to learn the generators at electrical level 3 now automatically. Characters, electrical, farming, and mechanic skill levels are now properly checked. If skill level is high enough, the appropriate generator farming season mechanics will be unlocked as if they learned via a recipe. So that's basically the same thing I just said about the mechanics levels and agriculture. They added pumpkin to more evolved recipes. They added happiness to chocolate milk. Broken metal pipes can be used alongside metal pipes to make pipe bombs. And regarding bombs, they reworked isotraps, explosive damage, and fire behavior. So pipe bombs, explosive damage is now high, fire risk is now none. Aerosol bombs, explosion damage is now medium, fire risk is low. Molotov cocktails, explosion damage is none, fire risk is medium. And flame bombs, explosion damage is none, and fire risk is high. And that's it for the balance. For all the ones that I picked out as far as being really relative to in-game play. The fixes are numerous and can be found in the link in the description below. So I hope you guys enjoyed the update. Feel free to check out my channel, subscribe, and like the video. And for more video content to come. And as I always say, play as if you're going to live forever. Later. Bye.